Alrighty, folks. Hello there. This is Alan recording another comprehensive Magic the Gathering Arena Draft video. We're going to do a little bit more Strixhaven, I think. I guess it's no longer available, is it? Oh, yes, it is. Alright, we'll be doing more Strixhaven. And last time I checked, I was at rank 3 Mythic, but we had to fall down, unfortunately. Did do a draft with this prior, and I got up to, I think, 4 and 3, unfortunately. Didn't get up to 7. But we still hit a win streak, and we were kind of just stuck at 6 all day. So I guess like in the later month, it just be hard. It's just a lot harder to hold on to this ranking. So without further ado, let's dive on in to do some more bot draft Strixhaven. Kind of review the set a little bit more before we do a little bit more Crimson Vow, and before Kamigawa Neon Dynasty comes out, which I'm really excited about. So let's begin. What do we have? Pack 1, pick 1. The Radiant Scrollwielder. Okay, this card can be pretty fun to play. So this is a better splash in a Prismari deck, since I don't really believe the Lorehold control deck actually exists. And if it does, it's not very good. I guess you can also play this in a controlling Mardu deck, which could be kind of cool. So if you have a lot of instances and sorceries in your deck, this is going to be at its best. So yeah, you could splash this, and it's quite a powerful card, so I could consider first taking this. I also don't think it's unreasonable just taking Devouring Tendrils as a good removal spell in green, to be fair. It has a little bit of life gain synergy for the Witherbloom decks, and it's just an all-around solid removal spell. So I can also see taking Devouring Tendrils, pack 1, pick 1. And then at common, nothing too exciting. There's a fine lesson. There's a good 4-drop. But I think it's between Devouring Tendrils and Radiant Scrollwielder. Scrollwielder is probably just a much more fun pick that I don't mind first picking here, and we can maybe build around it. And again, hope we end up Prismari splashing white, or Mardu splashing red or white. And so we can incorporate this Radiant Scrollwielder. But keep in mind, I'm not going to draft a straight-up red-white deck if I'm going to be taking this card, since that's just a bad strategy. So, you know what? I'm down to just take the Radiant Scrollwielder and hope we don't pass up some powerful Witherbloom or Quandrix deck. Let's try something cool this time. Okay, by first taking Radiant Scrollwielder, now why not follow up with a Nasari, Dean of Expression? The reason why I'm not mentioning Uvilda, Dean of Perfection, is that the card is not very good. All it does is just put a bunch of suspend counters, 3 suspend counters onto an instant or sorcery card. So either way, it's going to take a while for that card to be casted, and, sure, you get the discount, but you don't really want to wait 3 turns to cast an instant or sorcery. The sad thing about it is that you only have a 1-turn window for using that exiled spell. Let me see. So you exile. Okay, so you have 3 home counters at the beginning of your upkeep of this card. Exile, remove a home counter from it. When the last home counter is removed from this card, if it's exiled, you may cast it. So yeah, I guess you can still keep it in exile. Let's see. Yeah, I guess you can just keep your instances and sorceries in exiled even after the 3 home counters are gone. But either way, it's not very exciting, whereas Nasari, Dean of Expression, is actually a very exciting half of this card. Basically, on our upkeep, we just exile cards from the top of our opponent's library, so it's a nice card advantage, and then you can cast it of any color, and then you can also just start growing Nasari, Dean of Expression. So I think the rare is a bomb. We're seeing another Devouring Tendrils, which is excellent. There's also a Rip Apart in this pack as well, which does pair very well with the Radiant Scrollwielder. So it kind of feels sad having to maybe pass this up to take a Nazari, which is probably a much more stronger card in the long run, whereas Rip Apart has a much more immediate impact. Common, Guiding Voice stands out. There's also Elemental Summoning, which is kind of cool with a Radiant Scrollwielder. And then Frost Trickster is okay. So I think the pick here is between Uvilda and Rip Apart. Had we taken the Devouring Tendrils, I guess we wouldn't mind taking a second Devouring Tendrils to go base green. I think Nasari is just too good to pass up rights. Once it resolves and they can't answer it, you can just kind of win the game with card advantage. Rip Apart is a good removal spell, but hopefully we can maybe pick up a Heated Debate at common. And by taking Nasari, we're going to try to be base red. So we primarily want to be base Prismari, splashing white. Whereas Rip Apart is kind of like a color commitment, and I'm not sure if the spells version of the Lorehold deck actually exists, since it wants to be more aggressive. So let's just take Nasari here and hope Prismari is open so we can splash Radiant Scrollwielder. Alright, what's in this pack? The best card is like a Quandrix Cultivator, and then some random creatures. Could also just take a Thrill of Possibilities, which isn't a wrong option, like just to help the deck filter, draw some cards. And it also is an instant and sorcery for Radiant Scrollwielder if you want to keep the Prismari plan open. Could also take the Quandrix Cultivator. Like, we could still be in Quandrix and try to hard splash for Nasari for double red, maybe abandon Radiant Scrollwielder, which, might not pan out. So it's really between these two options, I think, and then there's some decent Silver Quill commons here, but I'm not very excited playing any of these cards, and then the Lore Hole cards are just whatever. I'm just I think I just like the Quandrix Cultivator. We might just have to make a hard pivot, maybe just hard splash Nasari, which I don't mind. And then there's just so much fixing and ramp in Quandrix that it's reasonable to just play the Nasari half of this. Thrill is just okay. It's a decent instant and sorcery to go along with our Prismari deck, but it's just not very exciting and kind of replaceable. So we could just take this as a sign that we just want to be in Quandrix now. So maybe missed out on double Devouring Tendrils, but at least our deck is going to be maybe fun and unique to play. So let's try the Quandrix Cultivator. Could also just maybe splash the splash the green half, but I think that's just a little bit too ambitious. Okay, so what do we have in this pack? There's a Quandrix Pledge Mage. There's also Prismari Pledge Mage, which could be reasonable if we end up with a pretty aggressive Prismari deck. And then there's a Fractal Summoning, which is also just fine if we have more ways to learn, and a dual land we can hopefully pick up later. Between these two, it's interesting. It's not sure which one is more open, Quandrix or Prismari. If I end up straight up Prismari, we have a chance of splashing the Radiant Scrollwielder and abandoning the Cultivator. If we end up Quandrix, which is a better deck in my opinion, we have a chance of abandoning the Radiant Scrollwielder instead and just playing Nasari. I think I'm just leaning towards Quandrix here, and this is just probably the best Pledge Mage in the set overall. I want to be base Quandrix in this format as much as possible, and then seeing this late kind of just hurts my heart. I would maybe consider the Pledge Mage over the Summoning, but this card is just too good, I think. And hopefully we can make the Quandrix Heart Splashing Red deck. So we'll take the Pledge Mage. And then this pack, just whatever. This pack is not exciting. Could consider the Pest Summoning as a lesson we can learn up in Quandrix. Could just take a random Curate, which is just very replaceable. Mercurial Transformation is not a lesson I'm too excited about. Like, it's only until end of turn, and it's not even instant speed, so they don't even need to really block with a creature. Or you can turn one of your creatures into a 4/4 and attack, but, that's not very exciting. Curate is whatever. I think I just like the Pest Summoning if we're going to go Quandrix, and it's always nice to make some chump blockers. There's a chance that Curate can wheel, but it's not too different from, like, a Thrill possibility. Like, maybe we would have settled for, like, a straightforward Prismari deck by taking the Pledge Mage, but I'm not excited to play Curate. Let's take a Pest Summoning. And now an Aether Helix very late. There's also Field Trip, and there's also Pop Quiz in this pack as well. I think the stronger card is still Aether Helix, and this can kind of solidify us in Quandrix. But I wouldn't mind any of the Learn cards here. They're also quite good. I would probably prefer Field Trip over Pop Quiz, since his ramp is just more important in Quandrix, and this is almost essentially drawing a card, ramping and learning, whereas Pop Quiz just draws us a single card. So I guess we're just coming to Quandrix now. I can ditch the Radiant Scrollwielder, maybe pick up some more mana fixing for Nasari, and take it from there. And alright, Mage Duel pretty late. There's also Environmental Sciences. Darn, why do they have to be both in the same pack? I think it's still a removal spell. Maybe we don't need to play Nasari, I don't know. I've done enough drafts before Strixhaven. I've come to the conclusion that we should have enough ample mana fixing in the later stages of the draft for if we're gonna go double color. I went 4 colors before with Liliana and also splashing red in a Quandrix deck, but I think the Mage Duel is just too good here. Unfortunately, they have to be in the same pack with Environmental Sciences, but the only problem with blue-green is that the interaction just tends to suck. So it's very important to just take up some interaction in our colors with the Mage Duel. And now we'll take a Quandrix Campus to make it easier for us to splash. And then now we can take a Prismari Campus. Don't care about the golden ratio as much. There's Eureka Moment at common, which is just probably a better card. and this can kind of be clunky at times. And it's kind of hit or miss. I think we'll just take the campus over a pest summoning. And alright, nothing exciting in this pack. I guess there's a chance we still end up Prismari with Ogier, Battleseer. Could just take maybe a random charge through in case I need a cheap spell to actually trigger Magecraft with the Pledge Mage, which I don't mind. Actually, this is not a bad choice. I don't think I'm going to main deck it unless I need an extra playable. But Ogier Battleseer is not a card I'm interested in splashing, and seeing the late Magecraft duel is a sign that green is open, so I highly doubt we're going to be going base Prismari at this point. So unfortunately, we had to pass up the rare and pass up 2 Devouring Tendrils, but so be it. And then we'll take a letter of acceptance in case we want to help ramp and fix, which I also don't think it's wrong main decking to support a card like Uvilda or never mind Nasari. So I'll take the letter, don't care about the thrill, not going to splash it in a Quandrix deck. And wow, that's a late Prismari Pledge Mage, but I think maybe the ship has sailed already. Yeah, the ship has sailed. I'm not going to play this 2-drop in a Quandrix deck, it's just too awkward. I'm just going to take the campus. And then we can even main deck a Curate if we want to, although there's a Mercurial Transformation. Maybe we could consider this as a lesson we could grab. Yeah, sometimes just making a 4/4 flyer isn't too bad. I guess it's an option. We'll take the lesson card, and we'll just take another campus. So yeah, our mana fixing looks good now. We can support Uvilda, but I'm hoping we don't get punished for not taking those Devouring Tendrils early in our draft. But we can still make something happen. Alright, this is a pretty nice bomb rare in a straightforward aggro deck. I guess we'll settle for Snow Day. Still a fine card. If we were Prismari Splashing Light, we would consider to rip apart. But that ship has sailed. We're going to take a Snow Day as a fine tempo play. And then Emergent Sequence is really nice, although there's Environmental Sciences. Why do these 2 cards have to be in the same pack? Given that we're Quandrix, we just want to ramp, so I think we're taking the Emergent Sequence here over the Environmental Sciences as much as I like to have one. It's just too important on turn 2 to ramp in the Quandrix decks. You just want to go big and just get to the late game ASAP for your expensive spells. There's also Frostboil Snarl, which is probably worse than a campus at the end of the day. Let's just take the Emergent Sequence and hope we don't get punished for doing this. Could splash a Shock, which is okay. Could just take Elemental Summoning, I guess, for a lesson. Don't care about the Waterfall Airless. I find the stat is not too impressive. The Shock also just isn't a very exciting splash. Doesn't deal a lot. And we're already splashing for double red, so I don't want to make it too problematic with Creative Outburst. There's also the Elemental Masterpiece we could splash for at 7, so yeah, we'll take the Elemental Summoning. Hopefully we can pick up more ways to learn in this deck. Now, Rutha's a busted card, but there's also Burying Books in this pack too. Oh man, and also another decent lesson. Given that we already have Nasari, I don't think we need Rutha. Rutha is really insane though if we can ramp and cast her, but just to be safe, we'll take a Burying Book. Still one of the best commons in this set and the best blue common. And we'll take another Ether Helix. I guess there's also Field Trip now. Might just prefer the Field Trip actually. There's also a decent 5-drop with the Witherbloom Pledge Mage. This is a better card, but we do have some lessons. I need some learn going. There's like 0 learn cards, and this deck can be kind of awkward. We already have Mage Duel and a Burying Books already, so I don't really need to go hard on the interaction. Plus, the fact that this needs a permanent in the graveyard can be kind of awkward if we don't have any. So I think I'll take the Field Trip over to Ether Helix, but Ether Helix is definitely a much more stronger card. But just for the deck, I think we need Field Trip at least. And I guess we'll take another random lesson. If we have more Magecraft, could consider the Adventurous Impulse, but we'll just take Prophecy, and then we'll take a random 2-drop. Actually, not really random 2-drop. I think this is the best 2-drop for the Quandrix deck, actually, so definitely going to make the cut. And then there's an Elemental Masterpiece that we could, again, splash for. There's also just Professor of Zoomancy on turn 4, which is a good common. I feel like since we're going to be ramping, we just want some big heavy hitters like the Elemental Masterpiece. I don't really care about triggering Magecraft with the Mentor's Guidance. And yeah, this card is a good common, trust me, but it's better off in a Witherbloom deck with the Pest token that's looking to be sacrificed or gain life or chump blocked. Whereas we're going to be trying to accelerate our mana very quickly, and I think it's more important to cast some bigger heavy hitters at the top end. So I think I like the Masterpiece more than the Professor. And then we already have a Mana Rock. We already have a... I guess we don't have an Intro to Annihilation, so we'll just keep taking a bunch of lessons that we need to desperately learn. And I don't think that any of this matters. So we still are kind of lacking playables here, but our deck is coming together. Alright. Do I take the Creative Outburst? Probably not. I think it just could be too ambitious. But the Waterfall Airless is also just not a very exciting card to be playing either way. It tends to be understated. I know it's a flyer, but we don't really care about that. Yeah, maybe we just try to Creative Outburst. We could just go really hard on this and see if it pans out. So this is going to be a very interesting deck. Could also take Impulse as a way to maybe find some lands in the early game. It's actually not that bad of a card. This is a fine Prismari card. This is a good removal spell we could splash for, but we're already looking to do some heavy splashes already. Could just take another Pledge Mage. The Tauren Sculptor is actually not that great. If you look at the card, you need to get an expensive card into the graveyard, and even then it's just a fine chonky creature that's not too different from any other large creature in this set. And then you do need to discard an instant or sorcery to use the removal portion on it, so you're not actually gaining card advantage by any means. And I think I like the Pledge Mage over the Trickster. Again, the Heat the Bay is fine, but if we have all these interaction spells already and things to learn of, I think I just like the Pledge Mage here, given that we're lacking creatures, so we can at least have some creatures that can help us close out the game. Yeah, Heat the Bay is fine, but the splashes are already too ambitious if we're going to go with the Creative Outburst, so I think I'll take the Quandrix Pledge Mage here. And then I do like Eureka Moments. There's also another Ether Helix in this pack, which is very good. Serpentine Curve could also be fine if we can put enough instances and sorceries in the graveyard. Less exciting in Quandrix, but I can always see a copy being played. Yeah, same argument. The fact that we have Ether Helix already just makes me want to take the Eureka Moment. We just need some card advantage and ramp to accelerate our deck. Also find 5-drop with the Witterbloom Pledge Mage, which I also don't mind as well. But again, I think the name of the game in Quandrix is to draw cards, ramp, play our expensive stuff, and just try to win the game that way. Let's just take a Eureka Moment to diversify our deck a bit more. I think I don't mind another Skirt Colony over Professor. Again, another good common, but I find like the Skirt Colony makes more sense as an early game creature that can help us block and trade and can become a relevant late game 4/4, which is really useful. So let's take it. And then I could just take another Campus to make it much easier to cast our double red. I'll take it over everything else here. Doesn't seem like any of this is exciting. Could take another Skirt Colony, could take a Rutha, could also decide if I want a Practical Research, which I don't care about that much. I guess Pop Quiz, never mind, can help us learn. Rutha is powerful, but given that I have all these lessons and no way to really search them up, I think I just want another learn card here. As unexciting as it is compared to Rutha, we might just have enough power that I don't really care about this. Again, we have Nizari. We have that can function as kind of a pseudo Rutha. Some Creative Outburst already. I also have a card advantage with Eureka Moment already, so I don't need Practical Research. I think we just need more ways to learn. I'll take a Pop Quiz. And then just more ways to learn. We'll take an Arcade Subtraction. And then, yeah, Quandrix Apprentice is a nice one. Also helps us hit our lands. So, yeah, this looks like an exciting card to be playing in the deck like this. Seeing it late. Not sure if I'll play Strategic Planning. I guess it's a decent way to trigger Magecraft. Bibliotech Assistant isn't bad, but it's also just not very exciting either. We'll take the Strategic Planning. I don't like the fact that it just puts a card in our graveyard. Alright, I think we have an Intro to Annihilation already, so I'll take an Archway Common to improve our mana base. And wow, Ether Helix, pick 10, that's a gift. Sure. And Campus Guide also helps us fix, so not a bad main deck as well. And then none of these cards I really care about. Don't care about the leather. Maybe take a Reckless Amplemancer as a filler 2-drop, and even a late Campus. Alright, so yeah, we'll try to go heavy red here. And hope the deck pans out. And we should have at least 23 playables by now. So we're going to be at 22 cards. Not sure if I want to go 18 lands. I don't think 18 lands is reasonable. I've actually done these 18 land Quandrix decks before, and they're kind of awkward. So we could just throw in an extra playable into this deck. Maybe an Adventurous Impulse. I mean, it's a cheap way to trigger Magecraft for our Quandrix Pledge Mages and Quandrix Apprentices, and yeah, we can look pretty deep into our library. It doesn't really hit our instances and sorceries, unfortunately. We have a whole ton of them, so it might actually be worse than a charge through. We don't have a ton of creatures, like 9, so this could actually miss, funny enough. The strategic planning is also interesting, but I'd rather have the charge through and the 1-mana spells. I think they make a huge difference. So actually, you know what? We could just take a charge through. It could also help us trample over for some damage with some large creatures if these Quandrix Pledge Mages get large enough. I mean, the Adventurous Impulse is a better card to, I guess, cast earlier on. So the charge through can be kind of awkward if we don't have a creature on the battlefield. So it could be either one of them. But let's take a look at this deck. So we have a nice burn spell that can maybe remove something large and replace itself or burn the opponent out in the late game. Elemental Masterpiece can make some bodies. This can also tap down some blockers and get in some attacks. Same with these bounce spells. Cultivator is fine. Nasari is a decent 5-drop we could play. This can also kind of grow large. So the only thing that's kind of lacking in this deck is power. We're lacking some large late game creatures that we could cast. So I don't really care about any of this. Letter could also help us ramp. Campus Guide can help us find our colors. We could also just go down the mountain. Like the Emergent Sequence, I guess, can... I mean, if our Emergent Sequence dies, we won't get to find our red, but we have so much fixing, I highly doubt we need an extra mountain at this stage in the draft, and we can keep our blue and green even splits. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we could just go an extra forest. So we have 10 green sources and 10 blue sources. So let's count this again. 3, 6, 9, 10. 6, 9, 10. And then, yeah, we should have enough red to cast our double red spells. And then could also just consider a Tango Trap. Like, our biggest weakness could just be flyers. Maybe there's a problematic artifact around that's also kind of annoying as well that we might use. I highly don't care about the Burrog Befuddler. The cards that we're interested in learning are the Elemental Summoning, I have to imagine, and possibly the Introduction to Prophecy and Pest Summoning as well. Could also maybe try something insane and throw in a Radiant Scrollwielder. Like, this could also be a cool card we could try out. Maybe we just splash into Plains, and that's not too difficult. And it's the most powerful card on our sideboard. You know what? Let's try something cute. Let's go 4 colors. Just take the Radiant Scrollwielder. And then I guess we can just cut an island since it's more important to cast our Emergent Sequence. Because our Emergent Sequence can help us find our blue source as well. So we can ditch an island and then go for Plains. So yeah, this is kind of cute. We could try to do some sort of 4-color Shenanigans. And the Radiant Scroll. This way we don't get to waste our first pick. Pack 1, pick 1, and then just try something out like this. So yeah, let's see. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 blue sources. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 green sources. And then yeah, we should have some sources in the main library as well. Let's try this out. This is a really cool deck. Let's try this. Yeah, let's go 4-color Shenanigans. This is a really cool deck. Yeah, and I think we definitely want to find our red mana much more, which our red mana is undoubtedly going to be our much more important color to fix for, since we need to we have more red spells than white spells in our library, and yeah, this is a pretty cool deck. Obviously, we couldn't get Environmental Sciences, but there was other great cards in the pack that I couldn't really pass up. But that's okay. I got in the way of this before. And by having Radiant Scrollwielder in our sideboard, we can at least buy back our interaction spells or our creature spells, like the Elemental Summoning or Elemental Masterpiece later on, in case they end up getting answers. So this deck is really cool. We can basically cast all of our spells that we have good fixing. Opening hand, the Apprentice isn't bad. Like, this can be a fine turn 2 play, and then if we Mage Duel with it, we can start getting some lands. If it ends up dying, however, it could be a problem, but I still think we might want to keep, given that we do have some lands to play out, and eventually maybe get to Creative Outburst, so we'll try it. And either Helix can at least buy back one of our permanents, so not that bad. So red-white aggro is not something you come across too often. I'm still going to play the Apprentice and not trade here, so we could just be taking a beating because I do want to set up the Pledge Mage to try to get some triggers going. So hopefully the opponent isn't super hyper aggro, and if he is, we can at least maybe okay, so Killian is scary with a Guiding Voice. Alright, I think we need to kill Killian. As much as I like setting up the Pledge Mage, the card is just too scary to keep around. Like, by having this stick on the battlefield for a single turn, he can cast his spells for very cheap. So I think we have to Mage Duel this immediately before it gets out of hand. This is definitely one of the uncommons I'm the most scared of in this format. Take a Prismari Campus, which can allow us to fix for red at least. Fight this, and then we can attack for 3, and then play Pledge Mage, play Tap Land, and we should be fine. So yeah, Killian is not a card I want him to play. The Spiteful Squad is also just very annoying as well. Not sure how I can handle that. I could trade off for it and then... yeah, I could trade off for it and then Ether Helix on the creature he puts counters onto. And which one do I trade off? I think maybe Apprentice could go. Let's think here. Yeah, I could trade off the Apprentice and then just make a good blocker with the 2-2. Like, if I trade this off, then he can start attacking the 2-2, so I think I'll just trade off the Apprentice here. So I don't take too much damage, and then we can at least buy back the Apprentice and cast it for 2 mana. So let's see. Yeah, let's just Ether Helix now, so he doesn't get to hit me for a ton of damage. And then next turn, maybe, I guess I'm not blocking the 2-2, let's just attack for 3 then. And hopefully get double red to answer the Creative Outburst, which we will do next turn. So just take a bit of a beating and hopefully stabilize. And we can keep the 3-3 back still to hold off the 2-2. So first things first, I'm not going to cast Creative Outburst or anything, so I'm maybe fine playing out the Tap Land this turn. Then we can play out the Apprentice. And then we can still Emergent Sequence here. And then I guess I'll keep the 3-3 back or the 4-4 back. And then we can still find our double red. Or white. I guess we want our double red. The Radiant Scrollwielder is very awesome because it can allow us to get back, I guess, a Mage Duel. Let me see, what does this do? Is on our upkeep, right? So it's at the beginning of the upkeep. So this is weird, but I still think we might want to just kill the Combat Professor before it gets out of hand, so I think I'm just going to go for the red, and hopefully we can dig for a white source eventually. Do I attack here? Probably not, because if I attack, he can pump this, and I'll be taking more damage, so I think we just say go. And then just take 3, and then Creative Outburst the Combat Professor next turn. And I'll just do it immediately, so... Alright, this could be awkward. Alright, I heed the Bale Mine on the 4-4, so I might be tempted to just trade the Apprentice off now. So I don't take too much. Yeah, I'll just do it now so I don't take a million. Although I do lose out on some value, at least now we can outburst on this creature. To buy some more time and then hopefully find our white mana. Okay, Archway Commons, never mind, we can just take out Plains. And we don't have to play out Plains necessarily yet, just play out the green source. Next turn we can play Plains into Radiant Scrollwielder, or draw some cards first. Opponent can attack me for 2. Elemental Masterpiece isn't a bad one. Alright, I guess we can just Masterpiece instead. And then... Yep. Do I attack for 2? He could have a Study Break, so I think we just say go. We can even Scrollwielder and start going off as well. Even a Guiding Voice, so the opponent's going to be fairly aggressive. I need to find another bounce spell to deal with this. And hope he just doesn't KO me out of nowhere. So first things first, I think we might want to draw some cards just in case we find something better than a Scrollwielder. Unfortunately no, so we'll just play a Dual Land tapped. Play another tapped Dual Land, play the Scrollwielder. And then, do I just trade off here? I have all my mana, so I don't mind just attacking with maybe these two. If he has a study break, this could be bad. So maybe I keep the 2-2 back and just attack with a 4-4. Either way, we're not outracing him anytime soon, so... So, just need to deal the flyer into 3-3, and hopefully we can stabilize. The Radiant Scrollwielder also gives lifelink, I guess, to my instances in sorcery, so I could also just grab the Creative Outburst and then gain 5 by killing the Tome Shredder, which isn't a bad deal. If he has a pump spell plus a counter, this could be kind of awkward. Selfless Glyphweaver, I guess that can give its creature indestructible, so that's kind of bad. So what do I want to exile here? Probably the Aether Helix. And then I guess we can still play Scourge Colony. Yeah, if I use a Creative Outburst, he can just protect it with the Glyphweaver. But yeah, I guess I chose the Aether Helix already, so we might as well cast it now. Bounce 3-2. Get back, I guess. Pledge Mage to become a relevant threat eventually. Play out the Pledge Mage, and then play out the Colony, play Land Seago. I guess I can also just attack with the 4/4s now, or at least one of them. Or both of them, since we do have the Colony. Double Study Break is going to become a problem, but I do need to be aggressive here, so let's go for it. And he also didn't have Study Break last turn, so I'm just hoping he has one copy and not like a million. I can also attack next turn, and then I could also just attack next turn with all and then burn him out with the Creative Outbursts. That's reasonable, and I can also gain life off of the Radiant Scrollwielder, so worst case scenario, double Study Break. Best case scenario, he doesn't have it. If he has it, then should maybe cut one 4/4 back, but I also think it's important to be aggressive. So if he has both of them, then we're just dead. Alright, one Study Break gone. Alright, does he have the second one? Either way, this game was fun. So if he has a second one, rip us, but I had a lot of fun doing this game. So, I guess he's looting, so he might not have a second Study Break. So I'm probably going to chump block the 4/4 if he attacks. Yeah, I got to chump block the 4/4, so luckily he didn't have a Study Break here. So we'll chump this and then hope he doesn't have some sort of trample trick. I guess I could double block just to be safe. However, if I double block, he could still survive, I guess. We'll just block like this and hope he doesn't have trample. And he doesn't. Alright, so I guess now we can get the Creative Outburst and burn his face. And we can even Aether Helix here, so let's use the Aether Helix on, I guess, the 2/2. Yeah, and he's just dead. So yeah, Radiant Scrollwielder, perfect in this deck. Alright, that's a really fun game. And yeah, we even managed to make the Scrollwielder work in the Quandrix deck, so yeah, I guess I shouldn't have ruled it out, but either way, I wasn't going to splash any other white spells in the deck. So I don't really miss out on not incorporating the, not considering the Radiant Scrollwielder while I was drafting. Like, the only white spell I'm actually interested in maybe splashing is Combat Professor, or maybe Study Breaks to learn, but either way, it's not like there was anything too exciting in my library to get back from the learning. Alright, Apprentice on turn 2 again. Alright, not bad, and we can even maybe Letter. Maybe we just play our tap dual lands and then just ramp with the Letter. Turn 1 Zephyr Boots. Alright, so we could find the, I guess we could have a Lesson that can destroy that. Did we take a Containment Breach? Not sure if I did. So we'll see if we get an untapped land. If we do, I might just run out the Apprentice. If not, alright, we got an untapped land, so I guess it's fine running out the Apprentice here. And then we can still play Plains next turn and play Letter, and then set up a dual land as well. Reflective Golem I can always bounce as well. So let's just play the Mountain, play Letter, and then can even set up a Snow Day. We'll say go. Alright, we can still keep up maybe a Bearing Books to bounce, so he could just start doing some weird stuff here. But we'll see. We'll take 2. he can... So, it's you may choose new targets for the copy, so... Alright, let's see here. So we'll take 2, and then... Let's consider something. Alright, I think we're playing a dual land since we can't cast Snow Day anyways, and I can't main phase Ether Helix. So we'll play a tapped land and then keep up Burying Books. And then if he starts copying counters, we can always just bounce the Spiteful Squad. So he's probably going to start copying the spell here. He gets to learn twice, so that's kind of annoying. I can also just bounce a Reflective Golem. But maybe it's more reasonable to bounce the larger creature. Or it doesn't really matter, does it? So let's think here. Yeah, I don't know which one we should bounce, honestly. Maybe the one with the boots, because by bouncing the one with the boots, he needs to recast his mana to re-equip. And we can always bounce the 3/3 later. So you know what, let's just bounce the Reflective Golem. And then get a Campus. Although this would be an easier creature to kill. I'm not chumping here. And yeah, nothing exciting here. I guess we can just play an island and maybe Snow Day to cycle. It's not the worst. I don't necessarily want to do this, but I might just need to do this just to draw some cards to prevent myself from drawing a bunch from flooding. And we have enough lands to discard at this stage. I don't really mind just discarding a Campus potentially. So move to combat, we'll Snow Day. And we'll tap the creature. I gotta keep in mind the opponent also has removal. Is there a hexproof? There's no hexproof, there's indestructible, but no hexproof. I guess we'll just ditch the Quandrix Campus, even though he does know about a couple of lands in our deck. It's fine. I guess I could also sacrifice my Letter of Acceptance and bounce something here next turn. There's a Reckless Amplimancer. I guess it takes a little bit more mana to get this going. So we might just need to take a bit of a beating from the Combat Professor and then set up something next turn. So maybe we just play out the Campus, play the Reckless Amplimancer, and then just say go. Take 3. We do need to deal with all these threats, which is kind of concerning. The annoying part is that he can Reflective Golem and copy the spells as well. But we probably need to maybe sacrifice the letter to start bouncing things. As much as I don't want to, but we can still cast a spell at instant speed next turn. Yeah, let's sacrifice the letter here. So we can still get back a permanent with the Ether Helix. Mage Duel was a good one. So which one do I want to kill here? If I can Mage Duel. I guess I want to Ether Helix first and then Mage Duel. I guess I want to bounce the Spiteful Squad to reset the counters and then fight the Flyer. I do think it's annoying with the Reflective Golem that he can copy his spells, and he kind of has flying already with the Zephyr Boots. So first things first, let's play our forests, and let's lead with the Ether Helix on the 3/3. And then I guess we can also just get back a land, but we're probably just better off just getting back Letter of Acceptance here. And then now we can get a land, and then now we have to choose an option to Mage Duel. And maybe we just need to Mage Duel the Combat Professor since it can grow. I mean, he can also just copy stupid counters onto his creatures, but he does need to set everything up eventually. So maybe we're better off. I mean, the Flyer is going to be more annoying. Yeah, let's just take out the Flyer and hope this resolves. And if he has a +2/+2 indestructible, that's going to be sad, but whatever, we just need to try to survive. He could have the +2 trick, or Defiant Strike, who knows. Yeah, he has a stupid indestructible. Professor's Warning, yeah, he has it. Alright, this is rough. I guess we just say go. And we do need to find a removal, otherwise, I guess he could just set counters everywhere. but I can at least bounce for another turn. Yep, he can just make a large creature. I might have to chump this actually, since the damage is just too much. Do I chump of the Amplimancer, or do I chump of the Quandrix Apprentice? This is a little bit interesting. Can't really afford to take 10. Amplimancer can become larger, and we already drew too many lands, I think, so... I mean... By drawing lands, we can cycle through our deck at least. I guess we can buy back whatever we throw back into the graveyard, so I'm fine chumping regardless. And then we can still, I guess, Ether Helix. I guess we could also just play out Letter of Acceptance first. Yeah, I'll bounce the Combat Professor. Get back the Apprentice. And then I guess I can play out tap land into Apprentice and just take 4. Or take 5 next turn, or who knows, maybe I just need to chump again. Yeah, I need to find... The problem with this deck is that there's not a ton of removal. So I need to get like a 5 mana deal 5 or something. I guess he's just going to try to fly over and start attacking. So yeah, this is rough. I'm probably just going to die this game since I need to deal with 2 of these cards next turn. I guess I can shut it down with an Arcane Subtraction and maybe get a removal spell here. Emergent Sequence doesn't quite cut it. So I guess I need to just cycle Letter and hope I get lucky. And if not, then it's just game over. Yeah, so that's the weakness of this deck. Just too much, just not enough removal. And yeah, we have ways to tap things down and bounce them, but we do need to kill things eventually, and that wasn't enough. But yeah, still a very fun game. And keep in mind, I think we also just bottomed the we had to bottom the Radiant Scrollwielder in this deck. But it would have been nice to maybe resolve it, survive, and then start fighting things off. Or at least tapping them down with Snow Day and getting some good value. But yep, now we figured our weakness, just not a lot of removal, too much bounce. But that's okay. Opening hand, Emergent Sequence can help us find blue or red. I think I'm fine trying this out and hope it doesn't die. I think I'll have to find my red source, given that I might have enough blue in this deck. So, yep. And hopefully draw into some blue source. Okay, turn 2, Hall Monitor. So opponent's playing an aggressive game plan. Definitely need to find red here, and hopefully we eventually find our blue source. So, yep, gonna grab our mountain, since this is more important. And we get a 2/2 blocker. So I guess he can also just make a creature unable to block, but he still needs to invest 2 mana on it. This card's not very good. If you can, I guess, put counters onto this, it's fine, but we do have ways to bounce it, so. Could also see a removal spell on this, which would be kind of sad. But, Alright, now we can double spell, we can play Colony and Reckless Amplimancer and be happy. And the opponent's not doing much. We can even keep swinging with the Reckless Amplimancer and pumping it next turn as well. I think I will. Like, we can just make this into a 4/4 to just kind of offset the opponent. Ooh, and now I can play Radiant Scrollwielder. Yeah, Radiant Scrollwielder, I guess, can also just bring back the Emergent Sequence, so I'm down for that. Let's attack for 2. And I highly doubt he'll block, because if he does, I can just pump this into a 4/4. And then Radiant can also just get back my blue mana, so let's see what's up here. Is this a chump? Make your mark. Like, I don't actually mind trading off for this, but I also lose out on a ton of value. Yeah, let's just pump here. I think I'm fine with this. And then we can still take 3. You could have another trick here too, but that's fine. And then we might just keep this back later. Alright. Alright, I guess this isn't gonna die. Alright, so I guess he 2-for-1 himself. I'm fine with this exchange. I mean, it's not... I think it was worse for this to resolve than the sudden breakthrough. So I'm not sure if that was a good play from the opponent, but I mean... Alright, that's fine. Just a 4-4 menace, but we can at least get our blue mana. We can at least resolve Radiant Scrollwielder. I could also just play the Cultivator. Actually I can't, so I need my blue mana. Let's get the Scrollwielder online. And then we'll happily take 4. Next turn, we can maybe Emergent Sequence for an island. I guess we could have cast this too. No, we need a blue source. So I'm hoping he doesn't have removal for the Scrollwielder. But at least we baited out the 2 removal spells. So we need our blue mana to start balancing his stuff. General is not very scary either. Yeah, let's get the second Emergent Sequence going, and we can even Cultivator. Can we do that? Yes, we can. So yeah, make sure we're counting everything correctly. Hopefully no removal on my land, and nope. Now we can cast our blue mana, and I'm fine taking 4 again. This isn't a spirit, so he can't pump it. And just need to find our lands. And eventually we can cast Cultivator and then keep up our Burying Books as well. Don't know what this is. Maybe a removal spell on the Pledge Mage. Alright, and he did have a removal spell lined up, so luckily he didn't use it in our lands, but now we can at least keep looping things. I'll take 4 here. And then maybe we can set up a double block next turn and hopefully have enough mana to also Burying Books. So I'm hoping he doesn't kill my island. Okay, Twin Scroll Shaman I can deal with. No instances or sorceries in the graveyard, unfortunately. But we can definitely get going. Alright, there's a Quandrix Apprentice, but Cultivator can still allow us to keep up blue mana. Do I want to tap like this, though? I mean, I can always just tap for the red mana, but I do need to tap for blue mana. So I can tap for blue. Yeah, I guess I can still tap for red, tap for blue, and then do this, and keep up blue mana. And I think this is just a better blocker than Quandrix Apprentice. So this is fine. Want to find our blue source. And then we can Burying Books and buy back with the Radiant Scrollwielder next turn to send them really far back. One moment. Alright, I had to mute myself there because I um, had to help some other people, but I might just mute myself again since I feel like I can concentrate more if I'm not rattling on so much. But that was a really fun game. I kind of was a bit sad that Nasari only managed to exile some lands off the top of the opponent's library, and then just ate a removal spell. But either way, I knew that I knew that the Radiant Scrollwielder was in my deck, and that could have bought me an out for the game, and it did. Unfortunately, it also ate a bullet, but then we were able to just generate enough value to tempo the opponent by bouncing his stuff and taking out the Kelpie guide that we managed to win that one. But yeah, the game's gonna be very long and grindy and fun, and that was a great example of one. Alrighty, opening hand. Yeah, we can play out the Apprentice. We'll see. I prefer to have more lands, but if Apprentice survives, we can just maybe play an Arcane Subtraction and start finding some lands. I mean, I don't need to play it out necessarily, but I'll just run it out now since it's a pretty restrictive mana requirement requiring blue and green. So it's going to be a little bit rough to cast it later. I'm also just fine attacking into this and using Arcane Subtraction if I have to, although now there's an Archway common. So maybe it's still fine attacking and using Arcane Subtraction. Yeah, I think that's okay, just so I can hit my lands and at least learn a bit, so. Right, yeah, we'll lead with this first, and then we'll use the Arcane to at least take it out and draw a card. And we got a land, that's good. And then what lesson do we want to learn? Call is just pitch away a card, but we shouldn't deck ourselves anytime soon, so I think I'm down for an Elemental Summoning to cast later. And then we still have 7 cards in hand, so we can run this out. Next turn we can still play a 2-drop along with Archway Commons. Could see a Mage Duel on this. Maybe he respects it enough, but I do want to set up a turn 5 Elemental Summoning with the Quandrix Cultivator. Ooh, Quandrix Pledge Mage is a little bit scary. I can bounce it, but I do need to find maybe a way to take it out eventually. I could also just attack to offer to trade, which I also don't think it's a bad idea, so let's do that. The Pledge Mage is just such a scary card. I'm willing to offer to trade, and if not, we'll play the commons, tap the land, and then maybe offer to trade with the Amplimancer. But I think he has an instant or sorcery lined up for this Pledge Mage regardless. So maybe we wait until this accumulates enough counters. Okay, Devouring Tendrils. So we'll probably take 3 or 4, and then take it from there. So yeah, the deck doesn't have removal, but again, we do have bounce spells to hold this off. I think I could just play the Elemental Summoning, but he's going to be a little bit sketchy. It's going to be a little bit awkward for me not to run out the Summoning this turn, so I think I can attack for 2, and then play out the Summoning, and then next turn we can maybe set up a Scourge Colony, or I guess I can Ether Helix now to bounce this and get back to Quandrix Apprentice, but I wanted to commit more counters onto this before I get back the Apprentice, so I'm fine running this out. We can still play out Colony and keep up Burying Books if we have to. So probably see him maybe another bounce spell here, or removal spell. Cultivator, that's not too bad. So at least the 4/4 can hold this off, and maybe he's going to give us a turn this turn so he can ramp. Alright, so we can play land. If I Ether Helix, I don't have enough mana to play out my 2-drops, so I'm probably better off just running out the Colony for now. And then, I guess I could have also attacked and then kept up Bury, but then he could have swung back. I think we're fine just saying go. He can easily double block the 4/4, and that's not what I want. I do want the opponent to be a bit aggressive here, so I can Burying Books the 3/3 to set him back. Trickster, alright, that's fine. I can still set up some sort of block and kind of blow him out, so yeah, I'll set up a double block on the 3/3 to force the issue, and then I guess I can just double block the 3/4, but then I would lose out on my Colony, which can eventually become an 8/8. Am I fine making this decision? I mean, I could save myself 3 points of damage. I'll go for it, and if he has a trick, I'll bounce the 3/4. So. And then we can always bounce a 3/3 next turn. I guess we can also just run out Nasari. I mean, sure. Or just run out my Elemental Masterpiece. Yeah, it's probably just Elemental Masterpiece just to be safe. We'll take 2 in the air, but then we'll have some blockers, and then we can pass the turn. Opponent's still at 6 lands, so not quite 8, although next turn he's going to have 8. So maybe next turn is a turn to run out Nasari, and then if we get a land we can keep up a Burying Books perhaps. We'll see. Could also just start attacking with the 4/4. Okay, now we get land, we can still keep up the Burying Books. Yeah, I think I'm fine attacking with maybe 1 4/4. And then I guess I can still attack with both and keep up Burying Books of Nasari. I guess he can activate the Reckless Amplimancer, but that's fine with me. If he wants to trade an Amplimancer for a 4/4, that's fine. And it's a trade I'm willing to make still, so I do need to be a bit aggressive here. Okay. I mean, this is going to be annoying later, so we might as well just offer the trade here. And then we'll just run out Nasari and then start drawing cards. And still keep up Burying Books if the opponent decides to attack us. So Nasari can hopefully help us generate enough card advantage to win the game. And, you know, he was top decking, so he might just be out of removal. So don't touch Nasari. Just tap it down, but just don't touch him. Alright, just a land. That's good. We'll take 2. Opponent can tap down one of our creatures next turn. I'll take 2. No need to Burying Books or Frost Trickster. I can try something cute like maybe time my Burying Books to exile the card and play it, but all we got was a land, so I think this turn we can maybe afford to Ether Helix the 3/3, and then buy back our 2-drop. Or I could just pop Quiz here. I guess I can also just attack with the 4/4s and take it from there. Yeah, let's just move to combat. And then I can attack with the 4/4s. If he double blocks Nasari, I still have my bounce spell to kind of blow him out. I think I will attack with Nasari. And hope he doesn't have some sort of weird trick like Snakeskin Veil here. So he's... okay, he doesn't double block Nasari, funny enough. Alright, I guess I'm fine leaving out my mana. So now I feel more safer just casting the Ether Helix on the 3/3 and getting back. I guess a Colony makes more sense to block the flyer. And yep, this should be able to lock down the opponent for a long time. So we can generate value, and we have a blocker. Opponent has his own Colony, that's okay. He can tap down my 4/4 and attack for 2, but then I can swing back for a lot more. And have Nasari, that's just gonna give me an infinite card advantage, and we got our own Pledge Mage. Alright, so now we can play his Pledge Mage and kind of go off. And Nasari also just gets a counter, so yeah, Magic can be pretty ridiculous at times. And we can also keep up our instant speed Shenanigans, so we can move the attacks, and I'm fine just sending in the 4/4s, I think. Maybe keep one of them back, and then force him to chump, since this is 8 damage. Fine trading for one colony for the other. And then we'll say go. Can end a turn pop quiz or just use Burying Books for 5 mana. Another Amplimancer. Sure, I can even bounce that in the turn if I want to. Do I want to bounce that or just pop quiz? Might just want to hold on to the pop quiz. I just want to have more fun just seeing what he has in his deck. So he can activate this only once next turn. I can still Burying Books next turn on this 2/2. I guess I can get an Intro to Annihilation here if I want to. This is only adds upkeep, right? I could also Mercurial Transformation just to have a bit of fun. But just get an Intro. Just a land. Alright, that's not exciting. I guess I can just send in the Pledge Mage. So, you know what? Let's just play land. Play the sequence. And then I guess we can still send in 2 of our 4/4s and trade one of the Reckless Amplimancers or force a double block. Doesn't matter. Yeah, let's attack. So he's going to tap down maybe the Pledge Mage or Nasari. Alright, so I can then send in all 4 because they're all lethal threats. So if one of them goes unblocked, he's just dead. So I'm fine, I'm confident just sending this in. Alright, and yeah. Alright, sorry, that was unfortunate. So usually this happens when someone else on the other side disconnected. Or maybe the app needs to fix its loading problems. But we're still 4-1, then this is a really sweet deck. We also missed out on double Devouring Tendrils, but hey, can't really complain about rating Scrollwielder, just giving you all the value. Keep in mind, it's not always like, keep in mind the spells that you get from your graveyard is also just random, so it's also hit or miss. So I actually think the right pick, pack 1, pick 1, was a Devouring Tendrils. But either way, it's still a strong card in a controlling deck, and that's what our deck wants to be. Apprentice into Field Trip into Cultivator, or maybe we can go Apprentice Pop Quiz into Cultivator. Probably just want to get my lands out ASAP. And then maybe Pop Quiz doesn't need to draw us a land, so definitely gonna leave with Apprentice and hope he doesn't kill it. Conspiracy Theorist, although Conspiracy Theorist is a problem, so I might just leave with Amplimancer and try to trade for it. Yeah, I don't really want him exiling cards, so I think I'll offer to trade with the Reckless Amplimancer. And then I might just hold off on the Apprentice. Like, we don't get like 100% value, but we can at least right, never mind. So I guess we'll have him draw a card and just Field Trip here into Cultivator. Although I could play out the Apprentice again, but yeah, maybe I should play out the Apprentice, but this is more mana efficient. We're gonna have more instances and sorceries to get back. Alright, Elemental Summoning seems pretty good. Next turn we can play the Summoning, or just play Cultivator. I guess we can play Cultivator into Apprentice next turn, so he's gonna get a bit of value here, unfortunately, but at least we made him use a Heated Debate. Alright, just gonna get a Soothsayer, or maybe not. I don't mind if he plays Soothsayer, this card isn't really that amazing. Alright, so he doesn't even get to cast it, so yeah, that's a win-win for us. So we can find an island. And then we can play out the Apprentice. So luckily for us, the Conspiracy Theorist barely got any value, and we're accelerating our mana quite significantly. So yeah, sometimes the Conspiracy Theorist just isn't that great of a card. So let's see what he discards here. It could be a combat trick. Alright, a Prismari command. He doesn't have the blue mana to cast it necessarily. But I'm still going to block it, because if he has a pump trick, then he can't cast the Prismari command. I guess now he can play the land and cast it now. But he might want to kill the Apprentice instead, not sure. The 3/4 is going to be a little bit harder for him to deal with later. But it's still a fine, like, 2 for 2, I guess. Just makes a treasure token, so desperate for treasures, we can attack for 2. And then play the Summoning. Apply a little bit of pressure, and also draw some lands. And no lands. Alright, unfortunately we had to bomb some of these cards, but hopefully we can cycle through our deck. 4 more lands later. And take it from there. Waterfall Airlist. Not concerning. Let's just play our... I guess we want to play land first in case he has some sort of weird counter spell. Don't think that exists in this set. There is Negate, but that's pretty much it. Alright, campus. Maybe should have played this main phase to play my tap land, but this is fine. And then I think I'm just going to attack for 4. I don't want to trade my Apprentice, given how it can just help me find all my lands and then cycle through my decks to the Radiant Scrollwielder, so we can eventually get some of this stuff near the end. What does the opponent have? Nothing much. Alright, I guess we can move to combat, and we still have our instant speed stuff to play out, so let's go. Variant books, that's fine. Does he have a second one? I mean, we're still crashing for 6. Let's Eureka moment here. I don't think there's anything that saves us. Wow, we have to bomb all of these cards. Okay. And then we just keep drawing lands, so alright. Yeah, we'll let this resolve, and then we'll deal 6, and then play Letter, and then pop Quiz end of turn, and hope we get some lands off the top, so we'll say go. And let's see our library. Yeah, unfortunately, wow, all these playables, so there's probably a huge land pocket here. And we can still tap both of these down eventually, so I'm not really concerned. Mentor's Guidance, so he gets to scry 2 and draw 2, so that effectively replaces itself. So now we can pop Quiz, and then Snow Day on his turn. Could even offer the Apprentice as a trade, which he probably doesn't want to, given how I think he just wants to close out the game quickly in the air. So we'll just pop Quiz here. Just get a Forest. Or I mean, we can tap for white anyway, so this is fine. And then, I guess we don't mind Introduction to Prophecy in order to hit more playables. So this is, what, War 2? So we need to cast 8 mana to tap both of these down. So that should be reasonable. But first, let's Introduction to Prophecy. And we still get to find another land off the top, so just getting more card advantage, more lands. And do I want the plains? Probably not at this point. We'll just shuffle both back. And then, yeah, we can still play out a colony afterwards, so yeah, I'm fine trading at this point in the game. Alright, and the trade is fine. And we can still play out the colony to hold off the opponent and pass the turn. And yeah, I'll run out of campus, why not? We can still scry end of turn, or at least sacrifice our Letter. But we do need white mana to cast the Scrollwielder, so I'm not going to sack the Letter, I don't think. And this is a problem with the 3-1 here. It just gets blocked by the Scourge Colony in the early and late games. So a pretty underwhelming card, if I have to say. And now we can main phase tap these 2 down. Can even scry. So sometimes just trying to force a Prismari deck just doesn't churn out. So, yeah. We have 2 lethal threats, so he would need some way to tap both of our creatures down. Aether Helix is nice. Could just Aether Helix, actually. Or draw some cards. Doesn't really matter here. But just Aether Helix and maybe force a concession or force a block. Yeah, just take a Cultivator, or could maybe take in Reckless Amplimancer. Yeah, move to combat. And he's just forced to chump here. Even if he kills something, yeah. Befuddler, alright, that's kind of cute. I could tap down the Befuddler to force a chump. So if he does that, I mean, I'm still going to be alive, so I don't really care if he double blocks. Alright, rip Scourge Colony, but I mean, it did its job. So now we'll just play out Cultivator. I guess we could just shuffle the deck, so that's fine. Alright, I guess we don't have any more islands. Alright, and we have 2 more lands left in the library. Let's just play a tap land and say go. Expressive Iteration, alright, so this could be his out, we'll see. Yeah, this deck is really fun. Doing a lot of fun grindy things. Make sure I need to keep a land in my hand to discard as well in this type of deck, so. So, yeah, probably play 2 spells and we can tap both of them and we can win the game, so. Yep, good games. Alright, yeah, this is the fun stuff you can do in Strixhaven. Sometimes you have to peer straight out insane turn 1, turn 2 Silver Quill deck, and then sometimes you have this 3-color multicolor Shenanigans in Quandrix, mostly base teamer, and it's quite powerful and grindy, so 2 versions, and then the Prismari and the Witherbloom decks can also be strong, but you kind of have to be the only person that's drafting the college around the table. And the Lorehold aggro deck can also be good as well, but then you're kind of fighting the Silver Quill player for the white commons. But Lorehold is undoubtedly the worst. So if I would rate my colleges, I'd go Silver Quill first, and then Quandrix, given that Silver Quill can just win games easily. And then between Prismari and Witherbloom, it's kind of close. I think I would lean towards Prismari since you have your base blue. But I guess Witherbloom is also kind of I guess green's commons and black's commons are just better than red in general, so you're just kind of limited to the blue commons. So yeah, maybe now the college rankings, I'm going to rate it Silver Quill number 1, Quandrix number 2, number 3 is going to be Witherbloom, 4th is Prismari, and then 5th is Lorehold. But it's fun kind of revisiting a set and seeing all this funny stuff you can do. So what do we have here in our opening hand? Alright, I guess we can Campus Guide into some green mana, which is not the worst, and then play out a Pledge Mage. Sure, we'll try it. I prefer to grab our white source, obviously. Alright, never mind. Could just run out to Campus. And next turn I could just run out my white source, honestly, and then take it from there. Or just trade off the colony. I guess I want to trade off the Campus Guide, and we do need to find our white source for the Radiant Scrollwielder, so this is okay. Yeah, we'll grab a white source. We don't necessarily need to also, yeah, let's grab this. We also don't necessarily need to run out the Pledge Mage next turn. We can just play out the colony and then take it from there. And I'm happy blocking this. So Campus Guide getting some value, and then now we don't need to play the Quandrix Pledge Mage since we aren't casting any instances anytime soon, so I think we're just playing out the tap land, and then we can play out the Cultivator next turn and then ramp even more. Opponent's missing a second color, alright. So this is a weakness of the ramp deck. Could see an Expel here, which I'm fine with as well. No white counterspells in this set. I think there's a white counterspell, not sure. I don't know if it's in the set. Probably not. I think that only exists in Cube. And then we'll probably grab an island. Forest. And then if we get another land, we can Pledge Mage into Pop Quiz. And wow, yeah, just passing the turn. So, alright, now we can just attack. And then play the Pledge Mage. Alright, we'll see. We're seeing a Study Break. Opponent's deck does seem quite aggressive, like playing Eager First Year and Study Break. So I feel like he's not running a sweeper. And a card like Academic Probation is also a card that you want to be aggressive with, so I'm fine just running out my stuff. And at this point he's kind of far behind, missing his second color. It's almost like unwinnable at this point, I think, for the Silver Quill deck, unless he kills my threats. Probation, so I can't attack and block, so he's just going to use this just to slow me down, that's fine. And then I'm fine main phasing the Pop Quiz. I'm not going to cast a Radiant Scrollwielder at this stage in the game, and then we can even grab maybe Introduction to Annihilation to pump up my creature even more and hit my land drops. I like that. So let's just intro. And fine keeping a land. Ooh, Dean the Perfection. Right, I'm fine just keeping all this. I would like another red source, but I do need to hit my 8th land, so I'm fine keeping the forest on top. I do need double red though, so I guess we can't cast everything. I can still Radiant Scrollwielder next turn at least. And take it from there, so let's play land. Yeah, I can't cast double red, so let's just run this out and then start getting some value. Pop quiz would be nice. Introduction to prophecy would also be awesome, so. Alright, opponent finally playing a spell. That's a creature. And we're just going to generate value here, so do I want to field trip here? I guess I can do both. Maybe I can just intro first for like a removal spell and that can get the job done, although we already have Mage Duel. So let's see, I think the right play would be white, green, blue, cast a field trip. Just get a land out of the way for now. And then we can grab, I guess, Elemental Summoning could be fine. We can also use a Mage Duel here. I guess the 3/4 can fight the 2/2. And then we can just attack with all, and a turn just cast Prophecy, so. Yeah, it's a pretty unexciting matchup. But if you can curve out with Silver Quill, it can be quite powerful. But unfortunately, yeah, it's unfortunate sometimes. But yeah, these two are the best colleges. Could have also fought with the Radiant Scrollwielder, but I don't want to lose it. Like, if he has a +2/+2 indestructible, that could lead to an awkward turn where I can't attack, and I also lose out on the Radiant Scrollwielder. Whereas it was much safer to target my Cultivator, since if the Cultivator died, I wouldn't really care that much. So are we 6-1 with 4-color Shenanigans now? I think we are. Alright, 6-1, 4-color Shenanigans. This is awesome. Let's try to get our 7 wins. And then maybe I do another Strixhaven video after this, and then do some Premier Draft Crimson Vow on my channel to kind of round out that set. But it's going to be rough trying to get to top 3 again. Not an amazing opening hand. We still need to, there's some expensive stuff that we need to cast into, but that being said, we're on the play. And this is our final match, so let's have some faith. If we lose, we lose. And then we can try again. But yeah, this can get stuck in your hand. Could always cycle the Elemental Masterpiece and maybe cast it later with their Scrollwielder. So that could be an option just to get a treasure. Although I would need my other white or red source to cast a Scrollwielder in the first place, so it's also questionable as well. And Humiliate is probably going to eat my Scrollwielder, I have to imagine. I don't care about the Masterpiece as much because I can just buy it back, so he's probably going to eat my Scrollwielder if I'm not crazy. At least he doesn't get to put counter onto a creature. Okay, so rip. But the funny thing is our Aether Helix can now buy it back, so yeah. Just Campus Guide and find our red source, I think. So take action, find red since that's the most important color. could also find white, since I do have some red campuses already. It's a close call. How many more red spells? We do need double red eventually. And we can always either... I mean, the thing is we can Ether Helix and buy back the Radiance, so I feel like we're more inclined to cast a Radiance eventually, so let's just play land, attack for 2. And then once we get to 5 lands, we can buy this back and bounce something, and eventually, maybe, hopefully, cast a Radiant Scrollwielder with our red mana. And we'll see if he has an exile effect here. So opponent knows our whole hand already. We just need to hope that he doesn't draw into anything, and then we can just out-pressure him like the last opponent and get lucky. Did he hit his land drop? Did he hit a creature? Okay, land drop, and probably a creature at this point. Alright, Spiteful Squad. I don't actually mind just trading for this, honestly, so yeah, let's move to attacks. I'm fine if he trades for either one of these. Probably wants to trade for the colony. He's a pretty high-quality creature. If not, okay, I'm fine with this as well. It's always good to apply pressure against an aggressive deck. So, yeah, just do this now. So go bounce this, get back to Scrollwielder. We could also attack, offer to trade, and bounce whatever creature has counters onto it. If we get 6-9, we can also be quite aggressive and tap 2 things down and take it from there. Star Pupil, alright, so the opponent is kind of try to go off of counters, but we can still punish him with the Ether Helix. So next turn, if I attack with both, he can just block with both and offer to trades, which isn't all too bad, but I feel like it's much more important. Okay, he has an Onslaught here. So I'm fine maybe just attacking for 2. He puts a counter on the Spiteful Squad, and I can just bounce it and buy back the Scrollwielder. That being said, we did get a land. But I feel like the Ether Helix play is probably better, because then I can... the nice thing about that is that then I can set him back, and he's forced to recast the Spiteful Squad, and then I can get back to Scrollwielder, which can also get back Ether Helix, so I'm down for this approach. And if he kills my Scrollwielder, that's still fine. And let's get back to Scrollwielder. And just play out the land in case we can cast an Elemental Masterpiece next turn, so yeah, that was a fine turn. Hopefully he doesn't Mind Rot us. That would be kind of concerning. So let's see, do we run it out? Alright, another Ether Helix, so that's not the worst. So we can't run out anything. I think we just go for the Radiant Scrollwielder, and then we can still cast the Ether Helix from the graveyard to get back a 2-drop potentially, so this is fine. And if he has removal, then he has removal. You just have to run it out sometimes. Even a Professor's Warning, so I'm assuming he has removal, because you wouldn't really play this into a Scrollwielder and then get it bounced, I have to imagine. I'm still fine. If I get a land, I can trade a Masterpiece, offer the Spiteful Squad, and still, yeah, I'll probably see a removal spell here. It has to be right. You don't make this play. Otherwise, it's just free value, and that's not going to accomplish anything, so yeah, we're happy taking 3. There's no reason to block this. I don't mind. I think Spiteful Squad's an okay 4-drop, but there's just definitely better 4-drops in this set. Like Mage Hunter's Onslaught, and obviously, and the Professor of Combat and Silver Quill. It's a fine playable. If I'm seeing light, I'll take it, but it's also just kind of underwhelming. So yeah, we get to bounce this creature now, and also just get back like a 2-drop. So yeah, I'm down. Do I want the Campus Guide, or do I want the yeah, I guess it's fine getting Skirt Colony since we have Prismari Campus anyways. So what's this? Oh, that's kind of cute. Alright, that's really cute, but alright, I guess I can attack for 2 at least, and I'm okay with that. Sure. Alright, don't have anything in the graveyard, but we can cycle the Elemental Masterpiece now and make more. And I do have a second Ether Helix in case Scrollwielder dies. Alright, so he's kind of just going to go all in here, I have to imagine. That's fine enough for me. I'm still at 15 life, which is still a 4-turn clock for the opponent. And then once I use this, I can just use it again. Wow, going all in, nice. I mean, I gotta respect that, right? And I don't have any permanents in the graveyard. Alright, so I guess we can attack for 2. And then we can play on Masterpiece, or we can also just Snow Day, honestly. And then kill him the next following turn, so we could just do this. Snow Day and tap him down just to be mana efficient. I think I like that. And we can just tap up to 1 creature, so I don't really mind just tapping this down. And if he has a hexproof trick, I can still block, funny enough, so just get rid of this. And we can also, I guess if we discard a permanent, we can just buy it back with the Ether Helix, so yeah, that's fine. If he plays another creature, we just bounce it and then kill him for 6. Opponent's scrying 2, so it's probably just game over. And yeah, we can recycle Snow Day. Alright, sweet, 7-1. This deck was really cute. 4-color Shenanigans. So 4-color Shenanigans, we managed to go 7-1 with it. That was really sweet. So definitely going to be a highlight. And I'm going to add this to my deck list and also just take a snapshot, obviously. So yeah, just an overview of the deck. Just a nice blue-green based control deck, splashing double red and white for some of our bombs. Didn't cast Creative Outburst that much. Cast it in our first game, and then overall just didn't see this card in the rest of the other games. Snow Day wasn't cast too often, but in the last game we did cast it. The bounce spells were all really nice and annoying for the opponents to face against. Radiant Scrollwielder also just did a lot of work. Whenever we casted it and the opponent was unable to deal with it, we could just keep cycling spells in our yard, and especially with Ether Helix, it's annoying since Ether Helix can get back to Radiant Scrollwielder. Did cast Nastari, I think, twice in 2 games. In one of them, it didn't do as much. In the other one, it did get a creature, but then the opponent, I think, conceded in like 1 or 2 turns after they realized they couldn't deal with this. So overall, just a very cool 3-color deck. Didn't have too many large creatures, but had a lot of value and a lot of ramp and acceleration. So it's very important to have those early creatures like Emergent Sequence and Field Trip to get to the late game. So I was actually didn't mind passing up the Evolving Wilds. I mean, not the Evolving Wilds, the Environmental Sciences, since our fixing was also quite decent, even with 1 Archway commons and 17 lands, we managed to get there. So yeah. I guess Radiant Scrollwielder should be our poster child for this deck, since it did more work than Nastari, in my opinion. The card that really stand out and did the most work, I think, was Scourge Colony and Ether Helix for the most part. But yeah, that was a really fun deck. So yeah, do I want to do another Strixhaven? Probably not. I think we're good now. I don't know. Otherwise, we're just going to be forcing Quandrix all day and Silver Quill, and it's just going to take another 4 hours, and that might drop the quality of the video since it will take time to process. So maybe I just call it and just do Premier Draft Crimson Vow, or just do 1 more. I think I'll call it. I have a lot of videos on this set already. If you guys scroll through my videos, there's a lot of history. So yeah, you can. Obviously, the knowledge isn't as updated as it is now, since I would be avoiding taking Heated Debate Pack 1 pick 1 over Burying Books, Professor Zoomancy, and the Professor of Combat, and even would take Mage Duel over Heated Debates. Obviously, Environmental Sciences over Heated Debate at this point. So yeah, I guess it's not as updated, but anyways, I think I'm just done for now. Just really tired, and I need to take a nap. So anyone who's watching this, thank you guys for watching, and I hope these videos are improving your draft experiences. And then I might just start putting out some more Premier Draft Crimson Vow. But anyways, thank you guys for watching, and hope you enjoy the New Year's, and have a good one. Bye.